So please join me in welcoming Marcus Margulies to the stage.
Rob, thank you very much for asking me tonight. I don't normally come to these things, but to say a few words about Jean-Claude Biver, I could not possibly say no. The second part is also irresistible. Dear Jean-Claude, dear Sandra, it means a lot for me to stand up and talk to you both. I met Jean-Claude in the Bâle Fair of 1984. Somebody told me that there was a guy who made new watches who I really had to go and see. So they made an appointment for me. I got lost. It was at the back of the second floor. It was a place that I've never been to before, and I hope never to go there again. I walked into the stand, and it wasn't the normal Swiss stand. Hello, how are you? Business is fantastic. We can give you a few moments and we're sold out for the next 6 months. I walk in and there's the biggest smile I've ever seen in my life. I fell in love. I then got the treatment. Gosh, it's jolly lucky I'm speaking first because when you hear Jean-Claude speak, you'll forget everything I've said. He bangs the table. He said, since 1735, we've never made a quartz watch and we never will. We are the oldest watch factory in the world. I recovered. This was a new thing. I'll show you the collection. All 8 watches. There was a round gents watch with moon phases. I've seen those before. And there was a ladies' moon phase. I'd never seen that before in my life. I thought, wow, this is something. And he's totally crazy. This is great. So we chose a range. It wasn't very difficult because there were no watches. There was one gold watch, I remember that. And Jean-Claude said, well, how many would you like? So I said, I'd like 12 of each. No, this is impossible. Schindler in Zermatt is my biggest customer. He sells 15 steel watches to 1 gold watch. This is the most fantastic order, but you can't buy like that. I thought, what the hell is the matter with him? So I said to him, look, Zermatt has got the Matterhorn, it's got Toblerone, and a load of rather boring customers. We have a lot of very interesting Middle Eastern gentlemen who prefer other things. So that's why I want 12 of each. Oh, he said, let me think about that. Come back tomorrow. I could find my way there the next day. So I go back tomorrow, and I'm thinking, why is he telling me to come back tomorrow? You know, he's told me he's giving me the biggest order of his life. What's the matter? And then I thought to myself, only 1 gold watch, this could be a problem. So I said to him, look, Jean-Claude, if the gold watches are a problem, I'll finance them. I've never done that before in my life, and I'll never do it again. Well, that cleared the air a bit, so we took the order. Next day, we came and we discussed his trip to London, which was 12 days later. He came to London the evening before. We had a wonderful meal. We had plenty to drink because it was something we enjoyed at the time. He hadn't discovered his bicycle yet. And our first call was Joe Kuczynski, who was an absolute legend. Joe bought 13 watches, I remember totally. It was about $250,000 at retail. Again, Jean-Claude stands up. He said, Mr. Kuczynski, this is a great order, but, you know, will you sell these watches? My God, that got an outburst from Joe Kuczynski. Young man, he said, nobody tells me what to buy. I tell my customers what they're going to buy from me. That's why they come, and they will buy these watches. And so they did. In any event, things went on, and we built up quite a business, and he gave me the agency for America. So we went to America, and Jean-Claude's seminars were something like I've never seen. He is the greatest communicator in the world. We opened Tiffany's. It was the first new brand that they'd bought in 20 years. The seminars were brilliant. The staff who are still working at Tourneau remember them well. especially the guy who runs Patek at Svorno. And there was a bit of a problem because we were better at selling the watches in than they were at selling them out. We also opened Mayors in Florida. Irving Getz was an incredible salesman, and he decided we should have an exhibition. Well, we had the exhibition. It was pretty expensive. A lot of ladies, you couldn't tell the difference. They were all wearing Chanel. They were all size 6, and they'd had the same face jobs and the same hairdresser. And they ate soup or vegetables and some grilled chicken. Jean-Claude and I were thoroughly depressed. We'd sold 3 watches. So we decided to cheer ourselves up, and we ordered a bottle of Lafite Rothschild, a Mouton Rothschild. Getz was feeling sorry for us. He picked up the bill. And then he saw the bill. The wine was more than the meal. It was too late for him to go back. We had a riot together over the years. And I think we did some pretty good business. I wouldn't be amiss of saying that our business was several times the Blancpain business today, despite them having a shop in Bond Street. And the interesting thing I find is the word beaver doesn't occur anymore in Blancpain history. It's a different world, but that's the way of the world today. In any event, Jean-Claude surfaced again. I'm amazed he lasted as long as he did with Hayek, but he surfaced again in Hublot. Hublot had changed their collection less than they had changed their managing directors before Jean-Claude arrived. The same miracle again. Another round watch, the art of fusion. And he built up the most spectacular brand, 2 round watch brands, which were sold to LVMH for rather a lot of money, and Jean-Claude had made history. In the watch business, Hayek was, of course, a genius. Rolex and Patek are in their own leagues. But there have been 3 special people that I've met. Alain Perrin, who was the brains behind Cartier, built it up from nothing. Gunther Blumlein, who died so tragically young, who built up a watch on the Italian Navy. I didn't know the Italians had a navy. And who built up Lange on German precision. The only 2 German watch brands were Jungtowns and Kienzl. He built up a major world brand by his genius, and Jean-Claude. What has Jean-Claude got that nobody else has got? Sandra, that is for sure. That is absolutely for sure. But he's got a heart like I have never, ever met. He talks to people. He deals with people. He smiles. And once you've seen him, you never forget him. David Merriman and I saw somebody a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about Jean-Claude, and he said he changed my life. He said he gave a seminar, I went there, I gave notice the next day, and I did brilliantly afterwards. Now, I hope none of you are going to give notice the next day, but you might very well change your way of thinking after you've heard Jean-Claude. Jean-Claude, you're from Luxembourg. Ein Mann is a man, but ein Mensch is a human being. And what I respect for you above everything else is your friendship and your humanity. When you sold Hublot, he did something that nobody has done. He gave his 2 old friends, Emil Klingenfuss and I, long contracts because that was part of the deal. He remembered his friendship, he remembered his background, and that is unique. There is one other thing, which I think will show you the respect that Jean-Claude has. There was a dinner for him in Geneva when he stepped a little bit down, and 2 of the guests were Jean-Fred from Rolex and Thierry from Patek. Now, these people don't go to dinners unless they really respect somebody. On his 70th birthday, which was magnificent in Cron, Jean-Fred was hosting the Rolex Laver Tennis. He had his biggest retailers in the world, but Jean-Fred came to Cron to share the evening with his friend and went back. That is the esteem that he is held in the watch trade. So God bless you, Jean-Claude. I cannot wish you any more, and you're all very lucky to hear him, I can tell you. Now for the second half of the speech. It would be a total anticlimax if I said anything else. The evening is not for me, it is for Jean-Claude. Rob, thank you for inviting me, and thank you.